We are going to go to our first bit of news, Dutch. And
Okay.
I was looking back. I was thinking in my head just before I wrote all these questions. I was thinking, God, nothing's happened this week. And then I went through and I found loads of really amusing things. Like, nothing really important happened, but just a lot of little things that you can comment on are always amusing. I suppose the biggest one is Hulk Hogan's recent criticism of pro wrestlers today. Now,
I'm looking for something.
Oh, no, don't worry. I'll read it to you.
I'm listening.
When I got in, this is Hulk Hogan talking in a recent podcast. When I got in wrestling, if you wanted to be a wrestler, okay, there's a guy there. He's got 2 big cauliflower ears, his nose is broken, his teeth are knocked out. He's got 4 kids at home. This next guy over here, he was an NCAA champion. He's got steel plates in his forearm. His name's Harley Race. Good luck with him. Then the other 2 guys, they look like serial killers. And if you wanted to be a wrestler, you got to take their job and take food out of their families' mouths. Everybody I wrestled looked like a monster-sized man. Nowadays, there's a lot of guys that look like wrestlers, there's a lot of guys that don't, a lot of guys who look like wrestlers, and a lot of guys who look like they should be bagging my groceries. So the difference is how athletic the guys are. Smaller guys can do all kinds of crazy stuff. They do so much stuff, so much impressive stuff in one match. I wouldn't do that much in a year. What does it mean? So is Hulk Hogan basically saying that a lot of wrestlers today don't look like wrestlers of the past, and that is bad?
Well, a lot of wrestlers today look like athletes, let me say that. But they run the problem of looking similar. And I'm just saying, let's just look at WWE right now. They got Pretty Deadly. They're English guys. Then they have Austin Theory. Then they have, who's the other guy? Wallen. But they all look alike, and they all about the same size. See, what used to happen in WWE was Vince didn't want anybody, this is what I heard, because in the Hogan years, people would go to see Hogan. And when Hogan wasn't on the card, because, he needs some time off too. But Vince didn't want him to take any time off, because he was their only marquee name was Hulk Hogan. If Hulk wasn't on the show, I'll go or not go. But if he was on the card, yeah, but sell out. And the same way with Stone Cold. I'm going to see Stone Cold, or The Rock. I'm going to see The Rock, or Undertaker. So Vince come up with an idea. Well, he wants people to go see the brand. He wants them saying when they buy a ticket, I'm going to see the WWE, which is kind of forward thinking. But in the process, he kind of spread it out too much, I think, because I don't know anybody that says I'm going to go see, they say I'm going to go see wrestling. I'm not really going to go see WWE. I don't care. But if you got the star there, like Roman Reigns, and he's the only one of the current stock of performers now that people say, I'm going to go see Roman Reigns and the Bloodline. But he had dropped that years ago, and he didn't want any one name to overshadow the brand. Now, Huck was right. He was over because, and there was several reasons he was over, that WWE, they don't do anymore. You never saw Hulk Hogan back in those days wrestle on TV. Mm-hmm. You never saw it because you're not buying a ticket to see him. You can see him on TV and advertise that he's coming, but you never saw him wrestle on TV until it was a pay-per-view that you had to pay for, or one of those NBC Saturday nights things called what? What were they called?
Saturday Night's Main Event.
They'd put him on that. Mm-hmm. And when he was on it, they had tremendous ratings. Because just look at it. Here's Hulk Hogan. He comes out, he's bigger than life. And he comes out to the Rocky theme. People would stand up before he would get there. When they would hear that Rocky, here he comes, get ready. Then when they saw him, spotlights on him, It's part of the show. And he made a spectacle of it. Take him 5 minutes to get to the ring, but that was part of the show. And then he would do that, and he would play to the crowd. And
can I ask you something, Dutch? Right, so this is more of a criticism, especially with AEW, because so many of their wrestlers are, under 5'10", very, very slim build. Is there a part when you've got the, yes, they look athletic, but then at some point it's got to be you look like you couldn't break an egg?
Yeah, there's some of them there that look like they can't break an egg. Who's the guy that does the kicking on the legs? What's his name?
Orange Cassidy.
Orange Cassidy. I don't get it. But he's kind of over. And they got another one that runs around, pants his face. He's
Darby Allin.
Well, him too. Somebody give him a sandwich. And who's the guy? His name's Danhausen.
Danhausen, yeah.
But Danhausen is entertaining in short bursts, but there is a spot for him. But their big guys, they kind of downplay some of their big guys. I don't know why. But see, with Hulk, he couldn't have regular sized guys working against him because all of a sudden you got that. This don't look right. He had to work with the King Kong Bundys and the Kamalas and the monster heels they had up there. And that was the secret for Memphis for many, many years. They followed that rule. They would bring in the monster heel. He'd go through a couple of baby faces, working his way to Lawler, because all the fans knew that when he gets to Lawler, Lawler was the king, and Lawler would put a stop to it. So Lawler, over the years, educated the people that this guy may be big, he may be tough. But when I face off against him, it's a whole new game. Because people will come to see the babyface win. They will not come to see the babyface lose. And Lawler educated them to believe, and truthfully, that he could win the match. And let me say this. When a heel started in Memphis, his productive time was like 9 months. Give him 9 months and he'd be gone. Because if he lasted more than 9 months, he actually hurt himself if he wanted to come back, because he couldn't be with Lawler all that time. And he would grow old, which is a lot of WWE's problem. A lot of their wrestlers, a lot of their talents grow stale, not old, stale. Doesn't have a thing to do with the way they work. I call it viewer fatigue. You just get tired of seeing him. Like Ricochet. Tremendous athlete. I really like to watch his moves. But after seeing him 4 weeks in a row, what else is he going to break out? Because he has no personality at all. They can't cut it out of him. They've tried, but he just cut and dried in his interviews, and he's not exciting.
There's something that I wanted to bring to your attention. I've not written it down anywhere. When I was putting this script together, there was Cultaholic maybe put it on Twitter, and you should have seen when Hulk Hogan said this, bagging the groceries comments, and you should have seen the people replying. The internet wrestling community embarrasses themselves time and again with stuff like just crap that they say. It's like, oh yeah, well, Hulk Hogan was there's so many better wrestlers than the. Let me tell you something. I don't mean to take the Al Snow thing here, but Hulk Hogan was the greatest wrestler, one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, because he drew the most, and that's what made him a great wrestler.
Listen, greatness in this business depends on how much money you made the promoter, or how much money you made the other talents. Okay, take Ricochet, a great wrestler, put him on top in Madison Square Garden, do all kind of angles with him, do whatever you want to do with him. He won't draw 5,000 people. If you took Hulk Hogan back in there today, he'd probably sell it out. Stone Cold Steve Austin, would you rank him as one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, ring-wise?
Do you know, before the neck drop, he was a very good technical wrestler as well, and then he became a great brawler. So depends what you consider a great wrestler, but I consider both of those things a great wrestler as well as a great draw.
Well, The Rock, say him, was he a great wrestler?
Technically, no. But his timing was fantastic, his speed was fantastic, but he had
Absolutely.
a few moves. His
performance.
I hated his stupid sharpshooter though. You couldn't do it properly. It was annoying.
But being great, it's according to the parameters you put on it.
Exactly.
Did you draw the money? Or you sell any tickets? You sell any pay-per-views? Because the person that is going to draw that much money, 99% or 100% of the time, makes the main event. Now, a lot of people say, well, why didn't this match go on the main event? You ever heard that? Why did it say Stone Cold and this guy, why weren't they their main event?
I'll give you a fantastic example. WrestleMania 18, Triple H and Chris Jericho were the main event because they had the belt, and also Triple H, I'm sure, was arguing his point across, and under them was The Rock and Hollywood Hulk Hogan. And we all knew what the real main event was. We all knew who was on the posters, but they didn't go on last. But they were the main event.
So who went on last?
Triple H and Chris Jericho.
You know why?
Because Triple H probably been married to Stephanie or was about to be married.
I would say that their match would probably be a better match work-wise than Rock and Hogan.
It turns out it wasn't. It wasn't that good. For a main event, it wasn't that great. And I think it was just the storyline going in was horrible as well. So no one remembers.
Well, that's what I would say.
Hmm.
But then again, hey, wrestling is its own world. It makes its own rules. It makes it up as it goes along. And when you try to put rhyme or reason to it, we can surmise anything. But whether that's true or not, nobody knows.